Paul.
Hi.
So lovely to have you on. Would you like to tell people where you were when I first started working with you?
As I worked with you in terms of mentoring, I was starting to see the evolvement of your message, the evolvement of your brand, the evolvement of the content, and ultimately became a client of yours. Our company became a client of yours, and our management team were bringing you in on a quarterly basis to get support on an individual and a group basis.
So, how has it helped you to know more about how to tame your brain?
In many ways, and when you say my brain, I mean, let's talk about me, the individual, and the brain of the company. Um, I very much understand the value of personality profiling. I think I've done as many tests as are out there over the years, but always found them intriguing, interesting, and then left behind. Um, then I started reintroducing that with your help for our hiring process, but not until we had started to do it with our current team to see basically, did we have the right team and were they all sitting in the right seats on the bus? And some weren't, some were definitely right up the front of where they wanted to be. So it definitely helped me come to terms with the importance of making sure that what people are doing is most in flow with their profile. There are people that are you may think of as underperforming, but they're only underperforming against tasks that don't light them up, right? They might see them as too simple, etc., and that's when they make mistakes, etc. So from a company perspective and the company mind, it was great because we were able to tap in much easier and much more an effective way to get the most out of people because they suddenly could view themselves from a different perspective, non-threatening, no non-judging, and each of the management team in turn could suddenly understand how that person's brain worked. And in a fun way, where the different types of cats and, the lion, the cheetah, etc. It became easier to remember and associate, okay, if I'm approaching this person, this is how they're going to be. I'm very much a cheetah, like yourself, quick, fast, and sit in the grass for a while. But when I move, I'm moving fast and I need things done quickly. And that then, like I just mentioned there, in terms of my own profiling, I was able to see, okay, I definitely could fall into the trap of seagull management here, right? I come in when there's a problem and what's going on and stay quiet and stay away. Where a lot of people enjoy that, but what nobody enjoys is when you suddenly come and pounce. So it allowed me to kind of adjust my own behavior over a period of time when people could point out to me, "Hey, you're being the cheetah," right? And I go, "Yeah,
In a way that wasn't a threat to you.
yes, exactly." So we had a framework to work within. We had specific ways, a new method of communicating with different language to what we could have done in the past, in a grown-up way, but also in a way that you could kind of follow through on and keep that momentum going once you got started.
And how did the flow state piece help your business? How does flow state impact you as a businessman running a team of people?
From all the way through. I mean, in business, it's all one big river, right? There's no real beginning or no end. It's actually very difficult if you had to say where does your business start? I don't know what the answer is. It's just one. Let's say, where does a river start? You say the top of the mountain, or is it the clouds that brought the rain which came from the sea? Right? It just becomes a cycle. Once a business is up and running, it's a cycle. So everything within it has a flow. And as we found, we were doing well. Like if you use the metaphor of it, the ship on a big river, but we were taking on a lot of water. And we were navigating around icebergs in room temperature, which didn't make any sense. So it was like, why have we got all these obstacles in our path? Why do we continue to hit off the sides of the river? And I use these metaphors purposely because the individual examples, I think most business owners will go, I know exactly what you mean. I can see you're hitting something in plain sight. You could see it coming, but the ship is too big. You can't steer away. And then you wish for the days when you were a smaller little lifeboat. You could move around it, but you were still a small little lifeboat, and one little pop and you're gone. So it's the importance of realizing that every day when you wake up and the ship is on the sea, there's going to be new challenges, and they could be self-made or they could be external. And you just need to have an awareness of that. And it definitely helped us to use that contextually in our business.
So what would you say to people who maybe haven't done their own profiling if they're in doubt as to whether or not this is going to help them run a business?
I think honestly, the moment you do your own personality profiling with you, especially those pages where I'm thinking of the report mentally here, the pages where you're discussing, okay, these are your triggers. This is when your shadow side appears. Anyone that takes the time to read the results of the report will immediately go, "Ooh, that's so true," right? And your partner will say, "Yeah, about time you found out." I mean in life, and it's it's what do you do with that? Do you just leave it on the shelf, or do you think, you know what, I can make myself a much more amenable human being that can be more productive, effective? I can have people. It depends on what role you're in the company, right? If you're a leader and you need to inspire, well, you can do it in a much easier way when people can see where you're going and they can follow, not through needing motivation, but they actually feel genuinely inspired to do it, because not only, it's not just about your own curiosity about how you operate. The next thing you're obviously going to start thinking as well, my second in command or my management team or the people I'm relying on or the people I complain about, how do they operate? What triggers them, right? And how do you trigger them? And all of this, once it's managed, then that's why you need someone like yourself, Libby, to kind of facilitate it in that environment where people can openly converse. It sounds like our marriage counseling almost, right? It's like having that safe place to openly say, look, behind all this, we love each other, right? But there's all this stuff, these satellites that, at any point they can come and create damage.
So last thoughts, Paul, in terms of the benefits to you since you've come on board with Tame Your Brain, what's been your biggest win since learning this stuff, since integrating it into your team? What can you take away?
Yeah, the biggest win is the team. And a lot of company leaders will probably know exactly what I mean here, when it's easy to pay lip service to say, we really care about our team. Oh, we're all about our team. And I remember reading, I can't even remember where, but it was or maybe it was a video, but it was about culture in an organization. Basically, they were saying it's way more important to sell your company to your employees that they are choosing to work with you, rather than focusing on how do you convince people to buy your stuff. The first culture you need to focus on is that your employees will actually go out and recommend you as a company to others to work for. If you roll this out within the company as a whole, no doubt you'll get the same effect, possibly even better.
It's that waterproofing the ship, isn't it? It's getting the boards calced all the way around, and that's at every level, starting with the top, starting with you, obviously, and then evolving it out. So final thoughts, Paul. Thank you so much for this, but final thoughts that you want people to go away with from this.
Well, if you're not doing it, you're missing out, because it's one of those less tacit things to measure in terms of results. If you go, buy this, you get X, buy X, get Y. But the greatest asset you have within an organization are your people. And it's so quick and so easy to overlook that. You go, yeah, I know that. But do you know that? If you know it, prove it. Prove it by any asset. Grows more when you invest more in it. So, this allows you to, especially with the world we're in right now, where it's very difficult to pick where to put money to get investments back, because everything is turbulent, wherever you're looking. But the one thing you can back for sure is if you invest in people, you're going to get that back so many times over. And while I say you can't measure that specifically with that person, what you will ultimately be able to measure is to see the improved performance economically within your company, because they're happier people doing the roles that suit them better. You get all of that. You get somebody that's showing up, they're committed. Basically, your company's values are aligning with your individual's values. So they just feel, the whole thing feels naturally and in flow for them. So it will bring it back a multitude of times. So do it is the in short, just do it, because if you're not, you're leaving so much on the table.
That was the perfect end to you. Paul, thank you for being one of my favourite Big Cat Brains. Such an honour to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Libby. Take care.